Hello, folks. How we doing today? I was hoping to be outside, but it's raining and miserable out there. So I moved indoors, sitting at about 40 degrees, somewhere in there, and rain and wind, and it's miserable. Not a place I wanted to be today. So, indoors, and I've been working to prepare for this stream most of the day, so hopefully everything goes smooth. How's everybody doing out there? Hello. How's your bees doing? Big arm. There's Dag. Hello, Dag. Just getting off work. There's Rick. How we doing, Rick? Raining here also. Where is here? You gotta be close by. And there's a small band of rain coming right across the U.S. I think it goes clear down to the Carolinas. Good. Glad to hear it, Rick. Rick's probably getting some of this rain. It's been, yep, that's what I figured. Yep. So, it's been warm. Okay. Yep, makes sense. A lot of us are getting rain right through here. Up till this point, though, it's been rather crazy. We've been in the 50s, 60s. We had a couple days in the low 70s. And I've been using that opportunity to do some open feeding. And the bees have been chewing her down. But today there is no bees flying. Yesterday there may have been a few flying. But I'm trying to remember what the weather was like yesterday. Yeah, it's been getting cold at night here too, Dag. That's for sure. So, one thing I want to point out right out of the gate here is that there's been a couple little changes to the community. Nothing major. What we did is we consolidated some of the topics on the side into one group, and that is called the Beekeeper Hive. So, whether you have questions, you want to share a picture, or a source of a link or something you want to share, it all goes under Beekeeper Hive now. So that'll keep it a little bit easier. It was getting to where it was very confusing, and we want to try and take some of the confusion out of it. So when you get a chance, check it out. You'll notice that change. Nothing major, like I said. Dry here in the Netherlands, but we had rain as crazy. Ah, the pollen. Somebody commented on my last video about their bees bringing in pollen, and I'll tell you what I think that is, because I've been seeing it in the pastures um, when I go feed and check the cows every day. We still have some asters. I don't know if you're familiar with the asters, but the asters are pretty tolerable to the frost. They can handle cold weather pretty well. Now, once you start getting the heavy frosts, it starts to affect it, and before you know it, they're dormant and turning brown and dying off. But what I've noticed is the asters that are up under a tree, up under a bush, maybe the frost isn't getting to them, but they still have a few flowers with some color left. And that's where I think the bees are finding that pollen. Amber Hill, hey, I figured it out. That's good. We don't want no confusion. If you have any troubles with something, just let me know. I haven't had time to check my bees for a while because both my wife and my bees had COVID. Since we got better, it's been raining nonstop. Oh boy, the COVID. Not good. I hate to hear of anybody getting that nasty stuff. had my share of it 2 years ago and still got side effects with the Perosima. The smells and my tastes are all messed up. Some foods to this day I cannot eat, and it plays a toll on a person after a while, let me tell you. So glad you guys are over it. Hopefully you can avoid it. The rain, well, ain't much you can do about that. So I've got a few questions here that I've wrote down, and I thought we would go over them today. If you have any questions as I go through these, just let me know, and I'll be glad to answer them. Put some sugar cakes on. And the bees are really jumping on. Oh, I'm sure they are. I'm sure they are. I need to get my the fondant patties, my Hive Life fondant patties on all my colonies. And that's actually one of the questions I'm going to be asking here. So what I said was I went over some of my videos and I wrote down some questions, and I thought maybe this might trigger maybe some more questions. But if not, then it's just some knowledge I'm sharing. So here we go. This person wanted to know how many Hive Alive fondant patties I use per colony per winter. Now, if you've seen these patties, they're about, I don't know, a foot by a foot, and they're about ½ inch thick. That's their size, and I don't take many. There's Yuri. Go with your priceless. I don't know if it's priceless, but appreciate that though. I take more 5/5 colonies or nukes through winter than I do 10 frame colonies, just because I sell nukes, and that's that's how I make money off my bees. So I don't have a whole lot of experience overwintering 10 frame colonies on pollen or on the fondant patties, but on the 5/5 I average probably 3 patties per colony, and that's if I start offering them right now and carry out until end of May. Probably right in there was when I would take and remove any fondant patties that are left. Now, since I don't have any experience with 10/10, I reached out to Brian of Castle Hives because I know he does a lot of 10/10s, and I asked him what he thought he went through with the Hive Alive fondant patties over winter, and he's saying he only uses 2. So he uses 2 fondant patties per 10 frame colony, whether it's just 10 or a 10/10, and I'm using 3 for a 5/5. So that tells me that I need to do a better job of feeding my bees in the fall. Brian's evidently doing a super job of making the colonies heavy. My problem is this time of year, hay loads start coming in and other things on the farm, and it just pulls me away from it. So I set out the open feeder. You take part in it, then you get some weight put on your colony. If they don't take part in it, then they lose out, and I have to feed them a lot of fondant patties. So that would be average numbers to go by if you use the Hive Alive fondant patties. My wife asks me every day what kind of spice I use in food. The first week she had it, everything tasted bitter. Yeah, I would say that's a side effect of COVID, but the Perosum, it doesn't taste bitter. It tastes rotten. It smells spoiled. It smells like, no, I don't think I would ever eat that, even though it's something you favored for years. So that's the brutal reality of Perosima. The next question. You remember a while back I did a video and I spoke about how a queen will lay, if she doesn't have drone cells to lay in, that she will lay drone brood and worker cells, which results in a much smaller drone than what should be. Well, this question goes along with that. And the question is, will a queen lay worker brood in drone cells? And to my experience, no. A queen will not lay worker brood in a drone cell. If the cell is not laid in with a drone egg, then that cell, the drone cell, would be used to store nectar. That is my experience. I've never seen a queen lay um, worker brood in a drone cell. So that would be my answer for that. Rick, I just last week put fondant patties on my 4 hives that I'm taking through winter. 10/10. Nice. And I'm going to guess they're the Hive Alive fondant patties. If you haven't used them before, boy, your bees are in for a treat. They are going to be super happy. Um, my bees love them, and they're a great, great insurance policy. I know you can buy a box of fondant patty cheaper than you can buy a package of bees. So it only makes sense. Use them fondant patties as an insurance policy to get your bees through winter. They're a tool. Use it. Robbing screens. Yes, robbing screens. When to put them on, when to take them off, and when taken off, is there anything that should be done? Robbing screens. A good time to put on robbing screens is early spring. Once you get a decent flow and all the bees and the bee yard or in the area have something to work, usually by the time for me the apple trees and fruit trees are starting to bloom, robbing's kind of out of the picture. It's kind of the pre-bloom stage that you want to worry about robbing screens, because at that point you're supplementing your colony, trying to get it to where there is some nectar flowing. And that's when the weaker colonies are looking for a source of food and they're going to start robbing. So I would say probably pre-spring into spring, a few weeks, put on your robbing screen. Once the apple trees and the fruit trees start to bloom, then go ahead and remove the robbing screen until dearth starts, which here is about late July into August. I think this year it was more into August, but it varies year to year depending on the precipitation we get. So I would put it on again about that time when you start to see that the bees are not having anything to work. And if you've got any experience in that, um, knowing when that time frame is, you can almost go ahead and just stick it on when you think the time is coming. That way you're safe. Otherwise, what happens is you might think, well, it's going to start in August this year, I'll wait. And then if you wait, robbing could already take place. And once it's already started, it's harder to stop than it is to stop before it begins, if that makes any sense. In the fall, once the aster and the goldenrod has died off, that's a good time to go ahead and remove your robbing screens and maybe go ahead and reduce your entrance and put on your mouse guards. That way that's just taken care of and out of your hair. Plan B apiaries. Affamay just sent me an email blast with a special on Hive Alive, but I think it's for pollen patties. Yeah, a lot of people get confused between pollen patties and winter patties, so it's not really, I don't know if that's real smart on their part. You don't want to encourage people that don't know the difference to feed pollen patties right now. That could be a big no-no. In case you don't know, the pollen patties have pollen in them, and pollen is protein. They use that protein to raise brood. The winter patties have more carbohydrates than they do protein, and it just acts as a food source. It doesn't encourage them to start raising brood. Yes, I agree. Plan B. Washboarding is a good sign they have nothing to do. There's a lot of speculation on whether that washboarding really does mean a dearth's coming, but I truly believe it. I see it every year right before the dearth starts. Cool, Dag. You can get Apame there. You got to get one and try it out. Yeah, bad idea. They should have that same offering, but for winter patties. I don't know that. I don't even know actually, and I should know since I have a Hive Alive hat on. Um, if they make a winter patty, not real sure to be honest with you. I know their pollen patties are excellent. Hive Alive sent me up a couple boxes to try out, and they actually asked if I had any friends in the area that would be willing to test them out, and I gave a couple boxes away and had good reports on them. Everybody loves them. I'm real interested in seeing what the people think come spring when they see the benefits of Hive Alive. Because what they say is if you use the Hive Alive syrup mixture, which I've got right here, the additive, you add this to your syrup and you feed it throughout the growing season, and then you get to the off season and you start offering the Hive Alive fondant patties. You're continuing to have this hive alive in the colonies, and all of the ingredients, or some of the ingredients in this, have some great benefits for the bees. Um, so the longer you can keep hive alive products in your hive and the bees eating them, the healthier they seem to be. It's just amazing. My patties I'm using are called Support. Give some extra vitamins and minerals. That's a good idea. Good idea. Now, that's why you commonly see bees not wanting to drink clean water is because they're looking for the minerals. So it's a good idea. Um, I've even experimented with using limestone in a chicken water just because that would put some mineral into the water, and the bees did like it. But at the same time, I've also seen my dog pee on a tree and a bee land right there and drink it. So I don't understand this. I really don't. Rick's asking if that's for spring feeding. This here is for adding to your syrup, if that's what you're asking about, Rick. Um, this bottle right here does up to 50 hives, and this is 16.9 fluid ounces. So it does quite a bit. They have a similar brand, Thymol Boost in Protein. Nice. Made up some 10 frame migratory lids. One 4x8 NRG board got 8 lids. Yeah, Big Arm. I've actually got a diagram that, and that may have been what you used, where it shows you can take a whole sheet of plywood and where all of your cuts will be, and it's crazy how many boxes, well, in your case, migratory lids, but I've seen it for like nukes, and I think you can get, it's some crazy number. It's like five, six, maybe even seven nukes for one sheet of plywood, and that's the whole nuke in the lid. It's like, wow, somebody has really thought that out. So you can find them diagrams right on Google, though. Just do a search. Bee vomit and dog pee. Dag's having problems with his other account. Yeah, shoot me a message on Facebook or up here on Circle, and we'll hash that out later, Dag. Okay, I'm more than willing to help you out though. Yep, those diagrams are very, very handy. Made 6 swarm traps last year from 2. Yeah. Yeah, it's unreal. And I'm assuming those swarm traps were probably standard size of a 10 frame box, right? I'm trying to remember how many nuke boxes I could get from one. And I'm thinking it was like 6 or 7, maybe even more, to be honest. I can't remember. It's been a couple years since I've seen that drawing, but if you got 6 from 2 sheets, it's making me think maybe 3/4 of an inch is how thick my nukes are. I try not to go any thinner than that. Years ago, I had a sawmill, and I would cut my own lumber, and I tried to use, what was it, ash or oak. They're real similar in the way they look. To make nuke boxes, and I take it those boxes held up for a long time, but they weighed 30 pounds empty. So I didn't do that anymore. The older I got thinking, these boxes are extremely heavy and they ain't got nothing in them. What am I doing to myself? So back to pine and blue spruce when I cut boxes. And I tell you, the blue spruce handles the weather really, really well. I don't know if it has more sap or resin in it or what it is, but oh, he made 6 frame, but much deeper with extra space on the bottom. And I assume that was probably for some bait or for the cluster to hang down or something to that. How's everybody appreciating this time change? Dark at 6. Maybe it doesn't affect everybody, I don't know. But here it's crazy. By 7:30 you're dozing off in the chair thinking, wow, I should be going to bed. But it's what it is. So nothing we're going to do to change that. What temps are too cold to OA? How many weeks in the winter should I OA? Okay, so to answer this question, I've done oxalic acid down to 35 degrees. And what I like about doing it during that temperature is no protection is needed. The bees are not going to come out and mess with you. The downside, I guess, is you're going to need your smoker. So what you need to do is you need to smoke your bees, get them to break cluster so they're not all clustered together. Give them a couple puffs of smoke. They'll break cluster a little bit, and then proceed with your oxalic acid treatment. And I would do that every 5 to 7 days for 3 weeks if possible. Now the thing is about the winter, when you do the OA, each treatment should lower your mite infestation. Because see, at this time of year, your bees aren't going out and meeting other bees on flowers to bring the level back up. So each time you do it, you should get lower and lower and lower until you just get to a point it shouldn't grow anymore. Until we get to where the queens raise and brood again. So my answer would be 5 to 7 days for at least 3 weeks. But if you can't do it 3 weeks, maybe say it gets into the 20s and it's just too cold or something comes up in your life, which does happen, just know that each time you've done it, you have lowered the numbers. Plain B. Bees don't care about the time. Very true. Very true. My garage is filled with empty hives after I lost several colonies when someone had robbed them for honey frames and let the roof off. Wow. Sorry to hear that, Dag. It seems to be, though, I made plans years ago to expand and to go into selling nukes. And I acquired a bunch of equipment, different sales and different things. At one time, my distant cousin bought some. See, there was a commercial beekeeper going out of business, and he was selling all of these honey supers, and they've all been inspected, and all of them had, I think it was 9 frames with comb in it. Everything had been inspected. It was ready to be sold, and he had hundreds and hundreds of them. And I think we went out there. We took a horse trailer, and we brought back like I'm gonna guess 400 of them. I don't remember right offhand. And he got them for $8 a piece. So he got honey supers. He got the box, 9 frames with comb for that cheap, and that really helped grow his operation. And I bought a handful of them at the time. I was new into beekeeping and wasn't sure where I was heading, so I didn't buy a whole lot of them. I think just a handful or so, and then I don't really push honey production like crazy. So I sell bees, and now I got honey supers sitting around. And what I'm getting at is equipment is easy to gather and sit in your garage. Sounds good, Dag. Take care, bud. Tell the wife I said hi. The nuke business. Any advice or tips? I could do a whole video, a whole stream probably on selling nukes. Um, my advice is, I guess first check with your state, check the rules and regulations. I don't want to get anybody in trouble. Um, Then what I would do after you jump through their hoops and get your certificate or whatever it may be, here in Ohio, I've got to get my bees inspected and get my queens inspected and all that stuff. And then they send me a certification certificate. And after that point, I'm legally allowed to sell nukes and queens in the state of Ohio. Um, my advice would be to check into that, get all of your ducks lined up, and then work on spreading the word. My first year, I only sold maybe 10 nukes, and yeah, that was enough to pay for my expenses I had in my bees that year. Um, but it wasn't what I was hoping. I farmed, so I used my livestock to make a living, and I'm surely not going to make much of a living on 10 nukes. So I've been working to increase that number, or I was working to increase that number, and then I started adding on cows and goats and other things. So I kind of maxed out at selling, or I think the most I've sold was 37 in 1 year, and that was keeping me hustling between running between all the animal chores I had to do and getting nukes settled and queens, make sure everyone had an active laying queen and make sure it was marked. Some customers want certain colors on their queens, regardless of the year. So, time you do all that, and then you make arrangements to get the customer to come to your house, and this is kind of like dealing with if you've ever bought anything on or sold anything on Craigslist, you post it on there and people say, well, they're on their way, and then you wait and wait and they never show up. I had that happen first couple years. So on my second, maybe on my third year, um, I started making what I do is let me back up here. Pre-spring, I'll make a post on Facebook saying that I'm selling my nukes and that I'm taking a non-refundable deposit now to reserve your nuke. And I strongly suggest that you do the non-refundable deposit, just because if you don't, what's going to happen is you're going to have a set number of nukes that you think you have sold to a list of people that you've wrote down. And then when it comes time to actually selling it, some people are going to back out. Whether you think so, it's just how it happens. And then you're stuck trying to find somebody else to take that nuke. So non-refundable deposits, very, very important. Um, the problem I had is I used PayPal to take those deposits, And one year, a guy disputed it, and PayPal seen it his way, and he got his refund back. But it is what it is. You're best to protect yourself, and that's one of the ways to do it. And then after you get those, you get your certificate. Um, you start spreading the word. You start taking non-refundable deposits. Um, After that, I guess you should start thinking about how you're going to go through winter. Um, like I said, I like the 5/5s. I can take a 5/5, take it through winter as one colony. In the spring, I start queen rearing. I could take that 5/5 and I can split them and put them side by side. This one's got a mated queen. This one doesn't have one. So I'll wait a few days, let them know they're queenless, and I'll stick in a virgin. They'll accept the virgin. She'll get mated. Now I've got two nukes to sell. I sell my nukes for $200, $195. So that's 400 bucks, roughly 400 bucks sitting right there from one colony, one 5/5. How much honey do you have to sell to do that? A lot. And I don't have the time to mess with the honey, so the nukes is definitely a lot easier for me. The more nukes you take in the winter in a 5/5 configuration, the more you're going to make in the spring. But then after you sell your nukes in the spring, you've got to have enough left over to start over. You got to start building your numbers back up. Um, More queen rearing, more splits. In the spring, you can make real small splits. You can take two frames and make a split, as long as there's brood on it. And that'll become another colony once you give it a virgin queen and she gets mated and start laying. And then there's feeding, treating for mites, keeping them healthy, all that good stuff. Um, that's just a basic rundown. Um, Hope that's somewhat helpful. Like I said, I could probably do a whole video on that. I just need to sit down and write it all out on a piece of paper, step by step, because to do it all by thinking it out, I'm probably gonna mess it up. Have nukes queens available in August, September when the beginners start losing their high. Yeah, no kidding. No kidding. You know, it's interesting. I'm talking to the book people I think it was last week. They told me they did some research and they know when people start researching beekeeping. What month do I think it is? And I believe that's how it was worded, something to that effect. And I pondered on it for a second and I said, I'm going to guess March because here in Ohio, you know, end of May, end of April, you're starting to work your bees a little bit. Well, it turns out people don't research their bees until I believe it was May. So the research showed that people get bees and then they decide to research it. And I said, that sounds about right. Sadly, that seems about right. Happy Thanksgiving, Rick. Take care, bud. Big arm. Sounds like we need a video class on nuke business. Yeah, I can make that happen. I can make that happen. I'll add that to my list, matter of fact. Maybe it's something I'll just share here on the community. And yeah, maybe that's something I'll consider. Just sharing it here on the community. And as people come over, it'll be a resource for them. So yeah. So all right, folks. That's all the questions I got for today. Happy Thanksgiving to y'all, and hope you enjoyed today's live stream. It went a lot. This is probably the smoothest one I've had so far. So kudos to that. Um, I know it's been very stressful. You try and cram this little time into your day to do the live stream, and then the link don't work, and you're chasing your tail, and I don't know. It's been very frustrating. So I'm glad it went pretty good today, and I just got to remember how I did it for the next time. So, hey, what I'm going to do is in the next couple of days, I'll be posting on the community um, for the next live stream next month. And I'd like to invite each and every one of you to go over to that post once you see it, and down in the comments, leave questions. If you click on the post live from the farm, once I put it up, a comments section will pop up, and from there you can write in your questions, and that would help give me material for the next live stream, and that could be greatly appreciative. So as over the next couple of weeks go by, any questions come to you, remember, go over here and share them with me. I'd be greatly appreciative. Happy Thanksgiving, Plan B. Magic thinks. Yeah, it's all you, buddy. It's all Yuri. That's why it's working today. All right, y'all. I'm gonna let y'all go, and I'm gonna get me a fresh bottle of water and take out some dogs. So y'all take care. Happy Thanksgiving, and we'll see you in the next live stream. Bye.